So what are we doing here? We're going to rank the quarterbacks of the AFC South, right?
AFC South. That's where we're going to go.
Okay.
We're going to go from the bottom to the top.
We had a little disagreement before when we did this, the NFC South. We had some
Yeah.
disagreements, and I hope we have some here too.
Just a little. I mean, we had a few switcheroos, really, with the starters and the backups. Nothing too crazy, though. I think we make good, valid points to why we can. I could see why you ranked it your way, and of course, I can see why I ranked it my way.
I hope so.
But
all right,
me too.
Well, let's start out. You're first this time. Who's your fourth?
All right, so number 4
in the AFC South. Yes,
this was difficult for me too. For the 3-4 again, 1-2 was not hard. At number 4, I put Anthony Richardson.
Okay,
I really wanted to put him at the 3 spot, but I put him at number 4 because I feel like just we didn't get to see enough, right? We didn't see enough repetitions on the field. What I did see from him, I really liked. Of course, there's still the rawness of the position. There's still that times where I don't think that he's really been through an NFL offense long enough to go through the progressions or to feel comfortable about what he's seeing and then reacting and playing fast. But, the physical ability is there. The athleticism is there. He's not overwhelmed by the NFL game or athleticism by any means. And I think Shane Steichen did a great job of taking advantage of that early on in his career. His physicality is a real thing. His arm talent is a real thing. So, for him, a lot to like. I'm excited for him this year. Big thing I'm sure Shane will be saying is like, hey, let's learn to protect yourself, right? When you can at all times to make sure that we're surviving to play the next play. But Anthony Richardson, is number 4 for the lack of reps that he got a year ago. But I got to tell you, I'm excited for him, and I like a lot of what I saw from a year ago too.
Yeah, okay. My number 4 is Will Levis of Tennessee. Probably you didn't expect that because, he played a little more than Anthony Richardson.
Right.
So I don't know which way to go here. Let me go number 4, and then I'll talk about Anthony Richardson here in a second.
Yeah.
But Will Levis, I mean, oh my God, he played just like he with Tennessee, played the same way at the University of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Tough as hell. I think he has to learn to play and not take certain hits, get rid of the football, and play a little more in rhythm. And I think that's all going to happen. Why? Why is it all going to happen? Well, because he's got a new offensive coordinator, and a head coach, Brian Callahan. So he's going to put him in positions. They've already kind of fixed the receiving core, everything like that. That's going to help. But, I think he just has to learn to play quarterback and more of that NFL style instead of the college style that he played with last year. I mean, his numbers, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He took 28 sacks. That was the other thing, Matt. I wish he'd have ran around a little more.
Agree.
God dang,
he's a really
come on.
good athlete, and he plays like he can't run at all.
Take advantage of that while you got it, because you will lose it somewhere in the middle of your career. So
right.
But, and it's going to be really I can't even wait to see him play in preseason. I know I'm not going to overjudge preseason like I usually do. I'm going to make sure I don't this year. But just how it's going to change to soften him up a little with his shoulders and his arms. And the way sometimes I can see him back there, I think he's trying to pop the football with his grip. I mean, I'm serious. He's like, really? But he still makes a lot of dynamic throws. He makes some of the easy throws, the routine throws. He's not great at those yet. And you got to be a great routine thrower. Throw in rhythm, make it easy on the receiver, make it easy on yourself. So I think this, if we don't see a different quarterback right away from what we saw last year, I think that's a big knock against Will Levis. Because Brian Callahan is sitting over there. What do you do with Joe Burrow? Yeah, we could run it, but what the hell? Let's throw another one. Joe's in there, and they got these receivers, and I got Tyler Boyd to come down to help them out, get this system going, and the receiving core is better. So Will Levis was my number 4, but really anxious to see how he turns out this year.
Yeah.
What do you think about him?
And I like what you're saying. I originally had Will Levis as 4, and I just switched it around just for the fact that he played more, he got more experience. He got that experience too later in the season too, where I feel like that's where like the NFL really kind of settles in. And he just made a lot of really good throws down the field. We see that he has great arm strength. We see the great athleticism at times as far as playing big and strong in the pocket, which I love and which we know is important.
Right.
He absolutely has to learn, though, how to, like what you said, right? Just play with better rhythm, have a softer feel in the pocket, right? With his feet, with his upper body. He's too tense all the time. He moves rigid. He moves like too just bulky. And he has to learn how to be a little bit of a slicker quarterback, right? When he's playing. That rigidness that you're talking about, this is the reason why he can't make those easy, completions, because he's trying to do it exactly the way that he did it in training, which was very robotic. And we know that, that's not how the NFL game is played. And, he really needs to tap into that a little bit more. And that's where, to me, I actually saw Anthony Richardson, he displayed some of that. He showed a slickness and a flexibility to his playing that I was very impressed with before he got injured, which got me very excited. Whereas Will, we saw the main product, right? Wow, strong arm, big, strong. But the rigidness really took him, I think, away from being, someone that's really going to hit that next level. So that, I hope, has been his main focus this offseason, is just being more graceful as a playmaker, right? And as a pocket and decision maker.
Well, they're going to throw more in OTAs. They're going to throw more in minicamp. He's going to throw more in practice this year, training camp, all of it. And I'm telling you, I know Zach Taylor's going to work all this, and I think we should see a different kid. I got to go back to Anthony Richardson. He's my number 3. You had him at 4 and Will Levis 3. But when I watched Anthony Richardson before the draft, I was convinced, knowing Shane Steichen and all that he would be the 4th pick of the draft. And, it was very, you didn't play enough and all that. But I did see him improve at Florida towards the end of his career there. And it carried right over into the NFL.
Yes.
I saw so many things that I liked. Accurate. The motion kind of got better. As you say, softer. Just had a little more rhythm to it. The running was good. His size is unbelievable. And, he got hurt because he got, you can't have eyes in the back of your head. And he got tracked down from behind is how he hurt his shoulder. Yeah. But before that, when he ran, he was being very careful, very smart, and adapted to the NFL that way. But now he's got to realize, if you stutter at all, somebody behind you is chasing, and they're going to get there quick. So, but everything they did, the offense, how they used him, his throwing, he's going to be a running threat. And I'd like to see more running off of drop back passes instead of design runs. That would be me.
Yes.
And just here we are in May, but everything that's coming out of Indianapolis is that he's right back and really advanced as a decision maker, a thrower, all this stuff they're talking about, understands coverages more. So I'm excited for the Colts, Shane Steichen, Anthony Richardson. The receiving core is pretty good. They bolstered it the last couple years. So there's a lot to like there, and that's why I got Anthony Richardson at number 3.
Yeah, I like that. I really do. I like that a lot. And I think Shane Steichen has also proven, too, that he does a great job of, making defenses think about a lot while still keeping it simple for his quarterback to make quick, decisive decisions. And you're right. Really, for both of Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, I want to see both of them, make more plays as runners in passing situations, on the run more, right? And use their athleticism to extend plays that way, rather than just overall brute physicality, constantly from that position. So I think we see it the same way. Let's go now to your number 2 ranking in the AFC South, and that is who, Phil Simms?
Oh man, here we go. These were kind of easy. I think 2 and 1. I guess I'm just guessing. I got Trevor Lawrence, number 2. Played hurt last year. I think the way he played, the fact he got beat up, but he hung in there and played as much as he could. Yeah. And I think we'll see a different guy this year. And if we don't see a different team in all aspects, but just different in their approach to the game and maybe the sense of urgency, it's got to be there.
Does that fall on Trevor, right? Or is that on Doug?
Both, but it falls on Trevor too. He's got to be just, when I watch him play, look, he can make all the throws. He can run, and we know that too. He can take hits. I met him. I ran into him this offseason, and he was talking to me. I couldn't listen because I couldn't get over how damn big he was. Right. I mean, he's unbelievably big. But, yeah, I think that, all that. And Trevor, you and I talk about this all the time, especially once you've established yourself in the NFL, then you got to have all that extra stuff. You got to have the personality and all that. And you got to do it all. You got to be tough. You got to pat people on the rear end. You got to galvanize the football team. And I mean the team, not just the offense. Because, when the quarterback's playing well, the locker room's happy. Defense say, hey, our guy's playing well. We can do this and that. And, that's probably how it come up. And Doug Peterson, he came under a lot of scrutiny when the season was over this offseason. I liked one of the statements he said. He goes, I keep hearing we got to be more physical. What play in the NFL is not physical? And of course, they all are. It's tough. But I think Doug Peterson is in the same little box that I just put Trevor Lawrence in. Yeah. They got to show leadership and do different things with his team.
No, and I understand what Doug's trying to. That's a cute answer, but it's also just like there's a lot of games where your team got punched into the face and you got whooped around, and that really is an extension of you. I think Trevor showed a lot of grit and toughness this year.
No doubt.
I was really excited from what I saw from the past 2 years. There's no doubt since Doug has gotten there, we've gotten to see what Trevor really is capable of in the NFL. Now I feel like Trevor, yes, continue to mature as a leader, as a pro, right? Be a more vocal, powerful leader in that locker room, a driving force of the team's success. But I think he really did display that he has that quality and ability. I saw a mic'd up thing of him this past year, and, he got a lot of criticism coming out of the draft because football is not everything to me and that kind of stuff. Like those conversations were circling around.
Right.
It's everything to him. He cares. It means a lot to him. And I think really it's more so, to me, it's on Doug. It really is. I think Trevor's got it. Doug, can you make it work now for your whole team? Because there was a lot of games where just like, man, Jacksonville's defense, where the hell are you? Like, come on, man. Like, can you make one big play to help the offense out a little bit, And then the offense, like, can we do anything to take some of the pressure off of Trevor? Is there any deception to our offense? Is there any physical running approach to their offense that allows Trevor to take a break for one play? So that's where I think Trevor's got it. He's probably one of the better underrated quarterbacks, like I think in the NFL. It's now up to the coach to get the most out of this kid now, right? Really for the sake of both of their jobs.
I will say this about Trevor. Last year, it's been a honeymoon. First year, got rid of Urban Meyer. The second year with Doug Peterson was really, really good. Last year, it kind of went off the rails a little bit. He got hurt, got nicked, but he showed great toughness. And, I don't know what – I'm just saying, he got dirty. In other words, that's a great motivation for you. When the national media – not that they're against you, but they're kind of questioning you a little bit. And, the team and even the local fans and all that. So, that – put your back up against the wall, whatever you want to say. And, one of my great is Terry Bradshaw. I saw a picture of him today, and I don't know, in the paper somewhere. But, he just said, you got to go to hell first. And I think last year they kind of went to hell. So their mentality is going to be so much different, Matt. And I think it really says the same thing about Trevor. It was probably the first time. When's the last time he really got criticized in his life? Maybe never.
Right.
And so I think that'll drive him forward. And I think we'll see a different team. He's going to be a different guy, not maybe physically, but just in his emotion, however it is, and how he leads the team, I think is very important. So,
for sure.
Did you have him at number 2? You didn't say.
I don't think at number 2 as well. He was my number 2 quarterback. And, it really more so, not necessarily for the individual, but more so too, just for the surrounding environment that he's in too, that I think really made it solidified that he's the number 2 position. Cause I think that is something we have to keep in mind with not just ranking the position and the quarterbacks themselves, but also to their environment that they're in, allowing them to be successful. And I think that right now they are that 2 team in the AFC South, and hopefully they can kind of get over that hump, because number one is CJ Stroud. And I got no doubt, right, about, just like I have no doubt with Trevor Lawrence's talent, I have no doubt with CJ Stroud's talent, but I believe in D'Amico Ryans more, right, as a leader, as a head coach, as an identity of like what he wants to see in his team and how they play, a little bit more than Doug Peterson at the moment. So that's where I'm really interested to see this sophomore year for CJ Stroud, what they do. But Bobby Slowick, he saw what the young quarterback can do mentally, what he is able to handle as far as the NFL game goes. Now they can be more creative and more dynamic as far as putting more on his plate, giving him that free rein to say, hey, just take over the game when you feel like it's necessary. And he's got great surrounding cast. The defensive coordinator / head coach is on it. And I think this is a team that is primed again to make another playoff run, because they really truly have a team identity and a toughness already.
No doubt. I agree with everything you said. I'll say this, Bob Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, did a great job last year. I'm going to say about week 10, 12, somewhere in there, as I was watching all teams and games, I went, oh my God. A lot of teams started copying Houston's pass plays, which I think he was ahead of the curve in many things he was doing. One of the things I loved, and I saw it more at the end of the year, it would be 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 18. He would run 2 receivers out there and block everybody. Sounds pretty simple, but it was genius. And the guys would run down the field and get to 25 yards deep, and you're a corner, hell, when are they going to stop? And they would pick up 3rd and 18s and 20s with these concepts. So everybody's copied. Everybody's going to be ready for that. Can Bobby Slowick go to the, I hate to say it, to the next level and get more? Can he just create more plays for his players? Now, when you talk about CJ Stroud, I wrote this down too. I thought he was mobile, and I thought it was a knock on him that just wasn't true, but he was incredibly so much more mobile than I expected. His movement, but really his movement just to throw the ball. Damn. I mean, it was really, really good. And, he was great at making the first guy miss and buying that extra second or two that you need. I think too, with CJ, he threw well under pressure, and, he can do it because of that damn compact. It's most compact motion. Is it anybody got a more compact motion in the NFL, Matt?
No.
I don't think so. And he was an aggressive downfield thrower. They weren't trying to pick up first downs. They wanted 20s and 30s down in Houston. So I got nothing bad to say there. I will say this. Somebody told me this, and it's so true. They said after the first practice in training camp, if they were going to elect a captain, it would have been CJ Stroud. He already had the team behind him, and he demonstrated it on the field, and it just, everybody was buying in. So I think that was something else that probably caught me by surprise too. So
he has that natural charisma that comes very natural, right, to him. It's not fake. It's not something that it's pretend or anything like that, like we've seen for some other quarterbacks in the NFL that have been criticized about those things lately. This dude is 100% real all the time. And and then it's the physical aspects of it too, right? And he just athletic, slick in the pocket, natural, relaxed, great decision maker, can throw with great touch, can throw with great power, and then also throws it really well on the run. Last time I checked, if you could do all those things, you could be a pretty good NFL quarterback given the right circumstances. And luckily for him, despite having a new offensive coordinator, new head coach, they all kind of fit each other and what they're trying to do. And them losing to Baltimore, I think is it's a great thing for them overall. Because Baltimore, they got pushed around by Kansas City, right? So, if the Texans were like, man, we thought Baltimore was tough. It's like, but then you see the guy who beat the crap out of you get their ass beat. Now you're like, well, we got to really step up and really demand more toughness out of our football team. And I think that's going to serve them extremely well.
They see where they got to go, that's the top. And, so you realize, well, we're not there yet. So, that's one thing. How about this? 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions for the year. And the 2 playoff games, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So he takes care of the ball big time. And a lot of that comes with his decision-making, his talent, but also how they designed the offense in whole. It just really helps the quarterback. So, it was great. So he had a great year. And, now what, Matt? Can you do it again?
That's
That's what we want to know. Can you do it?
Because
that's what happens.
Your last rep, baby.
Can you do it again? And my answer would be, I like his chances. So
I do.
So let's do backups here real quick. What do you think there? The backups, we're going to rank them. Who's your number 4 backup in the AFC South?
Number 4, I got Mac Jones as my number 4 backup in the AFC South. And really just I put him there for, he's got reps and experience, but, he needs to have a little bit of he needs to find himself again. He really does. He needs to kind of develop again as far as just like, all right, what do I need to do, right, to be a successful quarterback again? And a lot of that, too, is not really necessarily his fault. I think the Patriots organization and Bill Belichick failed him in a lot of ways when they made a special teams guy and a defensive guy the offensive coordinator. And unfortunately for him, that trauma is going to hold on a little longer than he probably wanted to, right, because of how bad that was. But I got Mac Jones, number 4. And hopefully he can kind of right those wrongs and get back and find his way into a lineup one of these days soon.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do a quick Mac Jones. I got him at number 3, but here's what he's got to do. You got to throw the damn ball better. Okay. What you're doing, it's not enough. It's just not enough in the NFL. You got to have more than 1 pitch. We need about 4, and he's got 1. And
I wouldn't say you don't have to have more than 1 pitch, right? You just got to be like awesome at the 1. And I don't know if he has anything that he's awesome at,
Okay, good point. He definitely doesn't. He's not when I look at it, he's one in the NFL, and everybody likes to get on me, and I see comments, oh, you just talk about arm strength too much. Well, you know why? Because it's really important. You think it's not important to him? To me, that is the number 1 thing he has going against him. Can you just put some more zip on the ball where you don't have to make everything perfect? So that's my thought there. But my number 4 backup was Davis Mills of Houston. Big guy, pretty good athlete, has a nice arm, all that stuff. But, he's a backup, and I think it's where he's going to stay in his career just because he loses control of the ball too much. When I say too much, that means 2 or 3 times a game, right? When you're in the NFL, if you lose control of the football 2 or 3 times, that's going to lead to some interceptions and times that you really can't afford to do it. So that's my number 3. Davis Mills was 4, Mac Jones was 3. Who's your number 3?
My number 3, I have Mason Rudolph. Rudolph is number 3 for me as the best backups, right? The new addition to the Tennessee Titans. We were talking about it before we went on for this show. Guy that, a little bit of a journeyman, even though he's been on the same team for a very long time in the Pittsburgh Steelers, just kind of went through a little of everything, the highs and lows of it, had moments where like, all right, maybe he'll be the future. Then it gets taken away from him, and then he comes in, he plays really well and plays solid football a year ago. And I think just hanging around the league a long time, getting a lot of practice reps, playing a lot in the preseason, all those reps finally accumulating to being like, kids can do something, So I got Mason Rudolph as number 3 for the best backups in the AFC South.
Well, I'm confused. You got Mason Rudolph at 3. Who'd you have it for?
Mac Jones.
Oh, yeah, Mac Jones. Oh, wow, that's right. Okay. Number 2? Who's your guy at number 2?
Number 2, where it's interesting, you had Davis Mills in this list. I actually put Case Keenum as the second best backup in the AFC South because of his experience. And I feel like, again, this isn't something that's like glaringly where he's a physical specimen of the field, but tough dude, tons of football experience, both in college and in the NFL. He's won playoff games. He's got a little bit of a gunslinger mentality to him, which I like. And I think that's good when you kind of have that backup because he's not going to be afraid to cut it loose.
Yeah. Well, at number 2, I had Mason Rudolph. I like what he did for the Steelers last year in even in the playoffs. I thought he played well. Played well during the regular season. And, he's another one I thought, can you make that special throw? He did make some special throws in games. In other words, all of a sudden he just let one go and made a big play. I remember watching him play against Seattle. He had a couple plays. I go, wow, let it go like that more often. So I got him at number 2 just because he's been in the league, whatever, played really well, played solid, I thought, in the playoff game when they up in Buffalo. So that was pretty good. And so I put him there. It's always close when you talk about these backups. But my number 1 backup is big old Joe Flacco. Not only because of what he did last year, it's because who he's with Shane Steichen. That helps me think. Just like in Cleveland, they adapted that offense a little bit to fit his talent, and that was throwing it down the field. Didn't work out for him real well in the playoff game against Houston, but the rest of it was really good. But I like his chances if he has to play in Indianapolis, that he'll play well under Shane Steichen and what they do on offense.
Agree. I have him as the number 1 backup in the AFC South for the same exact reasons. I think just, again, the experience, he still has enough talent. Despite being, one of the oldest quarterback in this list, he's still a better thrower of the football than Mac Jones. He's still a better football thrower than all these other guys on this list. And that's to me why I give them hope. Again, the combination of him and Shane, I think, really is that extra added, they can still win some playoff games if he is put into action that way. And, he's a good leader. He's a Super Bowl MVP. He's, a dynamic football player as far as his mind goes, right? And when he has the pieces around him, he can get it done. If he plays for the Jets, well, we saw what happens there. But other than that, he's good. All right.
Well, he had some good moments with the Jets, but yeah,
you're right. I know. I just had to take a shot at the Jets real quick.
Another reason why I put him at number 1, what he did last year, but of course also because of Gardner Minshew, how they adapted to him playing in Indianapolis after Anthony Richardson. So they kind of went, you know what? Joe Flacco's going to be everything we think he can be because of the offensive coordinator, head coach, and what they do on the offensive side. So that was pretty good. We had a few disagreements there, but nothing real bad, of course.
No, nothing bad. No, we were pretty spot on with the AFC South, really, for the most part. So I like that. And, really the 3-4 spot with Richardson and Levis, that's a little interchangeable to me just because both of them had very small sample sizes. But, we get to see, though, at least a little bit of what they're capable of. And hopefully they can, gradually improve, from last season because they definitely have the physical traits. So that's all we got for this breakdown. Thank you again to Melon Hats, melon.com/Sims. Use the promo code Sims. Check out all their hats. This is a nice little snapback that I got that I wear for when I'm coaching outside too as well. Machine washable. We love these hats. I appreciate Melon for sponsoring us at Sims Complete. And Phil Sims, thank you so much for joining us as always. You the man, Phil.
Oh, well, thank you, Matt. I got nothing to say. You caught me off guard. We got a little better. So we're like these quarterbacks. We got to get a little better here. So just keep working on it, and I think you'll catch on one day.
I paid him a compliment, and he has no idea what to say. That's all we have from Sims Complete. See you later.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
That was good. I like that.
Just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor here, Melon, right? The hat that I'm wearing, Melon hats. One of the best durable. Wear it out on the practice field. Wear it here for the studio. Looks good. Looks sharp. Machine washable. That's good for me too because I'm a dirty SOB. All right, so I need that type of hat player. Still got to get you one. Actually, Lindsay, one of our producers here at Believe, took it very personal when I said, we got to get one that fits your head. She texted me. She goes, yes, we'll send you some extra large hats for Big Phil. I said, no, I was just joking, but it's good.
No, I need an extra large.
Yeah,
I need an extra large. Yes,
it's a snapback, so it can fit you. It can.
It does. Okay,
but yeah, Melon. Go to melon.com/ promo code Sims, and that's all our breakdown for today. We got Believe. Thank you again. All right, Big Phil, you the man. That's all we got for the NFC South breakdowns. We'll be back with our next show with the AFC South quarterback ranking breakdowns. See you next time. Peace.